Hi, so you'll have to pardon me in advance, I'm very sick right now, but I would like to expand upon my deep, seething fucking hatred of Ticketmaster. So I just tried to buy tickets to a local show here in Minnesota. Decently popular, not like massively huge, not insanely expensive tickets, not something that's going to be massively sought after or scalped by anybody. So shouldn't have been a fucking problem is essentially what I'm trying to get at here. I managed to get in for the verified fan pre-sale. I've never done that before. So I was thinking, since it's the pre-sale thing and there's not as many people and it's limited and verified and blah, 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 this will be a much smoother, much easier process than normal, which was naively wishful fucking thinking. So the thing goes live, I get through, it's fine. It starts and there's like 262 or something people in front of me. Fine, whatever, cool, like not gonna be a problem, not nearly enough to fill up the general admission area, I don't care. So I go through and I get to the part where you actually get in to buy your tickets. And I put in the code that I was sent yesterday and it goes through. And then it gets to the part where you're supposed to be able to look to buy tickets. And all it says is Ticketmaster Verified Fan Presale, General Admission, Ticketmaster Verified Fan Presale, Section 1, and then City Card members, presale, which doesn't fucking matter. I don't care. What I do care about is that next to it, where there should be the prices of each of those tickets that you are trying to purchase, all it says is, what was it? I can't remember if it was like confirm info or enter code or whatever the hell, but not the ticket prices. So I click it and it wants me to enter the code again. Fine, sure, I don't know why you would need to do that because I don't know how I would have gotten to this point without having entered the code in the first fucking place already, but fine, sure, whatever. So I do that and I put in the code that they give me and it doesn't work. It just cycles back to the same page where it has the listing of the tickets and then asks you to put in the code again. And that's all it does. And so I'm sitting on this fucking page, like going back and forth and trying to do this, looking at other things, trying to copy the code that I was sent so that I can paste it in there. Does not work. And now that's another thing. Like, if you're going to send someone a code for a verified fan presale thing, that's fine, that makes sense. But like, why would you not make it so that they're able to paste the code in there? Because the chances that they're going to remember some random 7 to 8 digit code that they've seen for like a very short period of time is not super likely. And I would potentially be willing to see that that's a security thing and bots and whatever the hell shit, which again is fine and sure, but then I don't understand why you have to A, enter it twice, and B, why if you click off of that page to go and look at your text or your email or wherever it is that you get that code sent to you, it takes you out of the queue from where you are. What in the fuck is the point of a verified queue that holds your place if it immediately knocks you out of place when you try to go get the information you need to verify that you're supposed to fucking be in that thing? Like, it is infuriating. And it keeps doing this, and it keeps looping, and it keeps happening. And then, if you do it enough times, like I had to keep doing because it wasn't fucking working and it wasn't going anywhere, it just knocks you out of the queue entirely. So then, I had to go back into the queue and join as a new user, and suddenly there's 900 and something fucking people in front of me. So, like, this happens for 24 fucking minutes of trying to do this, getting through, cycling out, entering the code, it not fucking working. Like, it is insane. Finally, I get in, like, I go to the same page and I click for just the verified fan presale for the general floor section. Hoping, like, maybe somehow that will fucking matter. Everything else I've done exactly the same. Everything else, all the information has been exactly the same the entire time. But for whatever the hell reason, I go in and I do that, and suddenly it fucking works. So, like, after 24 minutes of this bullshit not working and not happening and not going through like it's supposed to, I finally get in, I buy the tickets. The fees are disgustingly expensive, and we'll come back to that bullshit. But I finally managed to get through, and I buy my tickets. Hooray for me. At this point, I'm so fucking irritated and disgusted with Ticketmaster that, like, any amount of enjoyment that I felt buying these tickets is very much gone. And it's also just infuriating, like, this would be one thing, still bullshit, but one thing if this was, like, you trying to buy the tickets as normal during busy times, trying to jump in, like, wherever people are and all kinds of shit. But, like, for a verified pre-sale thing that you need a code to even get into in the first place, it is garbage. Second of all, like, the whole thing with the fees and shit, it is galling to me that Ticketmaster has some of the highest fees out there for buying tickets, and yet doesn't seem to do any fucking good. It doesn't seem to pay people who have information or knowledge or access to multiple areas of the thing, because any number that you call for Ticketmaster, they only focus in one very specific section of shit. You either call the VIP line, and that's all that they do. They will not answer questions, don't know anything about anything else. You can call for information about tickets and venues and events and fucking things like that. But you can't buy tickets, and again, they didn't answer anything about the VIP line or any of that shit, which seems wildly fucking pointless to have two separate info lines for different types of tickets, and neither of them actually enable you to buy the fucking tickets you're getting the info from. But sure, fine, and then they've got a separate line to actually buy your tickets. It's fucking stupid. So then, I go through, and I go to the My Tickets section on the Ticketmaster app because I want to look at it and verify that that shit is there, because shockingly, I don't trust Ticketmaster. And I go, and the tickets that I just purchased to Lonely Island are in there. What is not in there are the fucking $200+ tickets that I purchased to the fucking Blackpink concert in Chicago. Those for some reason don't fucking show up. This is a bit of a concern to me for multiple reasons. So then I have to sit on the phone for another 16 fucking minutes waiting for Ticketmaster's customer service to answer. And they finally fucking do. And she's like, oh, so it looks like you bought the tickets over the phone, not through the app? Like, yeah. And she's like, well, I do see the tickets. They're there, they're available, they're fine, you definitely have them. It's just that any tickets purchased on the phone don't show up in any records on the Ticketmaster app or your My Tickets section. How in the fuck does that make any kind of goddamn sense? Like, I get if you didn't get e-tickets or whatever, like, it's not going to show you a barcode or anything on the tickets on there. Fine, sure, great, that makes sense. But how in the fuck, if I am registered to an account on your app and I have to use that account to purchase my tickets through the phone, does that not track to my account on there? How in the fuck are you having people buy tickets for stuff that they have no track record of in the app you sell tickets through? Like, it is mind-numbing garbage how fucking ridiculous and, like, just complicated and convoluted Ticketmaster is every step of the way with everything. And, like, none of this is even touching shit like trying to buy BTS or other super high-level tickets from these fucking people. Like, if you're going to sell tickets to an incredibly high-demand, expensive, well-known tour, if you're going to do this fan-verified pre-sale shit, why would you not do that for BTS tickets? Why would you? Like, it is one of the most sought-after, resaled, scalped, bullshit concerts that there is. Like, people buy tickets to that and then resell them at ungodly prices all the time. All the time, because they know that they're insanely high demand fucking tickets. Why would you not make that a fucking verified fan thing? Why would you not go through any of the steps to try to ensure against scalping and bullshit and things like you do for a whole bunch of other artists for these tickets? Like, it shouldn't matter that they're from Korea. It shouldn't matter that anyone is from fucking anywhere. You are selling tickets to an event, and if you want to bill yourself as a fucking sale or distributor that is so based around the idea of security and actual fans getting actual tickets in hand and not having scalpers and not having expensive resale and all of that shit, then that should be your stance, period, across the fucking board for anyone you sell tickets for, because if it's not, then you shouldn't sell tickets for them in the first fucking place. And if you're going to be the distributor that people use, it is mind frustrating to me that Ticketmaster can be such fucking garbage so much of the time to so many people in so many ways, have such ridiculous fees and complicated bullshit, and be so convoluted and difficult for the average user to use, and somehow they are still the biggest ticket distributor in the country. Like, I don't understand how you can be so fucking crappy and still be the biggest option that there is, that so many people go with. Like, if there was anything that I had as a wish for any big artist or band that comes through, whether it's K-pop, whether it's a Western artist, I don't give a shit if you're a magician. Any big ticket person that ever comes through and does a concert, never use Ticketmaster. Use literally anyone else. They are terrible. Like, oh my god. At least in the 90s and early 2000s, like, Ticketmaster wasn't great, but that was mostly just because they didn't have technology or advancement or whatever, and they just weren't that great. But there was a huge difference between not being that great and being actively shisty and shady and doing things poorly and, like, mismanaging things and actively dicking your customers around just because you can. Like, I would infinitely rather spend money at and give money to a group that is just not very high level versus high level douchebaggery. Anyway, this has been my rant for the day. I've probably undone any semblance of recovering from being ill by sitting here yelling and using up all this energy. But I am super pissed off, and I'm sure I'm far from the only one. So I hope this was cathartic for you. I'm gonna fucking go.